This is the bonus section podcast, episode number 32. Everything looks like more work if you don't understand leverage. Are you the type of person that knows you were meant for something greater in this lifetime? And that somewhere inside of you, there's just this bigger version of yourself trying to break through, but in spite of all your self-development attempts, you just can't seem to find the way up? Well then, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the bonus section and the host of this podcast, and a person just like you trying to learn how to live the most fulfilling life possible. Now, to help you take immediate action to get moving in a better direction, we take all the notes from each episode and post them for a short period of time over at freethinkingtools.com. Okay? All right, so let's get started. Everything looks like more work if you don't understand leverage. It makes me think of that great Edison quote. Opportunity is often overlooked because it comes dressed in overalls and looks like work, right? And this all comes back to again, I talk about it in the last episode. I seem to be recurring this theme. It seems to be that there's this battle inside of us between the animal who's trying to survive and the higher level thinker who's trying to thrive and become this biggest version. And that's the nagging thorn in our side all the time. You look in the mirror, you dream to yourself, I could have been so much more. I should be so much more. And it gets negative. And so the goal here is to really make us think our way up. I say it in the beginning here, right? You just can't seem to find your way up. There's this bigger concept out there that you're after. So the idea here is, why do we just freak out when the work to do that is in front of us? Why do we get stuck? And I see it all the time as a coach. I feel it myself. So let me start off by saying the first point here. There's a very short distance between new information and overwhelm. Now, let me explain this very specifically to you as a coach of real estate agents in my professional context, right? When I put up a mind map, what I now see is the way out of overwhelm, is the way out of confusion, is the way out of seeing too much. Because my brain has always been craving. It's sort of like that attention deficit disorder brain. It's really looking for a solution. It's not looking for a pill to shut it up. It's actually just simply looking for a solution. This is my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but I'm giving you my opinion as a guy who's probably got attention deficit disorder or had it and came up with his own self-cure, at least to a large extent, to be productive and to grow. And that was mind mapping. It was the ability to say, all right, here's the general concept that's important to me. Here are all the branches of A through Z, the action plan on how I think I can get there, and then I would just refine it. So in a coaching context, the first thing I did was built a very simple one-page model on how I thought, for example, real estate agency as a business worked, right? But then I realized you could start to apply that to anything, and I do it with my kids. One is becoming, he is a great student, but yet there are modules to becoming what he wants, which is a top applicant for one of the top schools in the United States. And so there are modules. You can't just have good grades. There's a module for standardized testing. There's a module for extracurricular activity. There's a module for the essay and expressing yourself authentically. There's a lot of modules there that lead to that. But if you just chunk it up like that and you put it into a mind map, all of a sudden the mind trying to, you trying to look inside and look through all of this information that you have and organize, no wonder why most of us suffer from some kind of a mental breakdown or overwhelm like that. No wonder. It's too much information. And so the animal brain, which is just trying to look to get its next meal and tuck your body underneath some shelter for the night, shuts you down. I mean, it's almost like when somebody gets choked, they pass out, right? They just pass out. So the body's just shutting down. So it's animalistic. You don't really have a lot of control over those kind of moments unless you become conscious of what's going on so that you can deal with it. Just understand that the new information that you're seeking out, if it is in line with you getting something that you really want, you have to tell the animal brain, shut up, do not interfere with what I am about to learn. Now, Having said that, the great editing that the brain does with all of the information out there is important. And you do need to learn to use it and allow it, turn it loose. Say, look, anything that doesn't have to do with hockey, anything that doesn't have to do with becoming a great actress, becoming a great student, becoming a great real estate agent, becoming a great whatever, shut it down. There's too much information. Don't just shut my phone off. Shut my brain off, that when it sees something that doesn't relate to my thing, shut it down. And then tactically and strategically, show me 5 different hockey coaches. Show me the story of some hockey players that are successful. Show me acting coaches, studios. Show me those things so we can start to filter the information by just being authentic to what we want. So once you get rid of all that other noise in the brain and tactically, okay, good start. Because at least now it just puts you in that confrontation with the new information you have to learn to become that thing. And so you begin to seek it out. And let's just say, all right, a coach, you finally find somebody. Somebody has a class. And in that class, the first thing they give you is a syllabus. And oh my gosh, it's a mind map of we're going to do this and this. And your brain just freaks out. I don't have the time. I get to do. Yes, you do. It's the thing you want. You have plenty of time. Quiet down, animal brain. Quiet down. Let's just take a look at this and consider one micro step at a time. And for all you coaches and mentors out there, spoon feed people. I'm working on that right now in my coaching programs. I'm trying to spoon feed people one little sip at a time. Because it's amazing what happens is, as you start to do this, suddenly the resourcefulness of the human being that you're helping or that you are, all of a sudden gets it. There's a click moment. It feels like the synapses are all of a sudden firing because you gave yourself a chance to let the brain see less, but what it wants. Allow that new thing to challenge and give the brain a little chance to assimilate that new information, organize it, and voila. All of a sudden, there's that tipping point moment. There's that understanding. But understand, to start off, there's a short distance, okay, between that information and that overwhelm. So you have to just be cognizant of that. So like I said, the second point here is it's easiest to confront overwhelm when pursuing what you really want. You see, if I really want that thing and I see that information, I'm going to huff and puff and I'm going to kick the can, but I'm going to persevere. I'm going to find a level of patience that wasn't there. And maybe I have tried it a couple times and I failed and I failed and I failed, but I kept going because it's what I wanted until one day I finally got the right mindset and I was patient and I meditated. I did yoga. I went for a long walk and I calmed my brain down. I looked at it at night where I could sneak up on it. And I said, I'm going to learn a little bit at a time because this is what I want. And if I don't start now, the outcome of never getting it is just painful to think of. So that's how we overcome that initiation, right? So, but now the key point is, I've been talking about us individually. And that creates this dilemma in this question, why are we always trying to go at all of this stuff alone? Why? What are we so insecure about that we believe we're supposed to know everything under the world? Is that what we're supposed to do? We're a walking encyclopedia. We are our own Wikipedia where we know everything and we're just supposed to go to the search in our brain and there it is. We know everything. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. So the third point was at the root of overwhelm is our inσecurity to accept help. So let's just imagine, let's use an anecdote. Let's just say somebody wakes up one day and wants to be a great business person. Okay? And they really say, well, how does business work? And I'm going through this with my son, by the way, who is a good student. But we're talking about schools. And I'm like, well, why? Why that school? What is at that school that tells you how business works? And so you have this dilemma between a generalized economics class, which is definitely the basics. I was an economics major and I loved business, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And you're starting to see a lot of undergraduate programs offer really good basic business courses. Here are the basics of business beyond just economic structure. Economics is certainly part of business, but what about all these other subjects that we can get, right? So where do I go to accept that? And then, can I get in? Can I get in? Can I go watch for free? And that's the great thing about the internet, by the way, right? I don't need to go to Harvard, MIT, UPenn, New York University to learn business. Those are some of the top places in the world. One more of a brand, the other's really 3 good undergraduate business programs. When you look at them, you look at the course selection. Can you go online and can you hear the professor talking on YouTube? Some of the kids giving a dissertation. What's out there for free that you can begin to be introduced and helped? And helped. You need help. Has anybody ever thought to pick up a phone and call an admissions director and say, look, I really have some questions about the business school. Is there somebody I could talk to? Somebody could help me understand this? I know my parents want me to go here, but I need to make sure that this is the right place for me, that this is the place where I can get the help that I need. And you ask, help me. Please. You're not there putting the shine on and trying to be a phony and trying to say the right things. By the way, that's the thing that I regret when I look back at when I was that age. I had such a strong, authentic voice, and I just had muted it. I was trying to always be, conforming to the way that I thought you did things to win and get in instead of just doing me. And if I had just done me, it would have been so much easier to listen to and hear the help that I was getting from guidance. Would have been a much better process. And it was just all this insecurity to control things ourselves, to be right, the fear of being wrong, that fear of embarrassment. I'll make an argument that the fear of embarrassment could be one of the greatest fears in the world. The fear of failing and being embarrassed because of the failure, right? That's where it is. We say fear of failure. I mean, I fear bears, okay? I'm afraid of bears. They can run fast, they can climb trees, and they like to eat people when they're hungry. I'm afraid of that. That's animal, right? But when it comes to these other types of fears, the fear of embarrassment, of picking up the phone and calling it admissions and saying, nope, we don't have anybody. And what? You're embarrassed because it was a dead end? Or you take a test and you fail it once. What, you're embarrassed just because you haven't been in school for years and you don't know how to go back at it and study again or ask for coaching? You're just done? That's it? You wanted the thing and all of a sudden, you're making all this corroborating evidence that, it's not for you anymore? Can't do that. That's just intellectual insecurity. It's just the fear to ask for and accept help. It's out there. I go through this with, my son, Jack. He's got a great standardized test SAT coach, and he's just attacking Jack's paradigm, where Jack's like all micro in this one little box, battling with this one problem, and he can't see the macro of the whole test. He can't even see strategically. This guy has, super high grade point average. His aptitude's off the charts, but yet he wants to be in such a battle with his own intellectual insecurity that I'm not saying he's struggling to accept the help. He is, but this epiphany that, oh my gosh, I haven't been. And that my desire to not be wrong on a singular problem has slowed me down on a standardized test. I've thrown the whole strategy out the door because I want to get in a fight with my own intellectual insecurity over something. But once you accept that help, and once you see cause and effect in a different way, whoa, I am actually causing a lower score because I want to fight over one problem out of all these problems. Now I'm behind. Now I'm under pressure. Now I'm panicked. Now I'm looking in and I'm not looking right out in front of me at the simple stuff that's in front of me, right? See, a lot of us, we have incredible generalized aptitude, meaning we've studied and we've been experiencing the world for a long period of time. And by the way, this has nothing to do with schooling. You can experience and learn and make all these distinctions. And then all of a sudden, under pressure, you start to look inwards and you're trying to like go through this massive computer. Like, again, I said, what do you think? You're Wikipedia? Just look at what's in front of you. React to what's in front of you. The brain's going searching while you're seeing out here. You're seeing what's out in front of you. The brain, let the subconscious do all that work. You have no idea this onboard computer that you have, how powerful it is, the massive amount of organization it's already doing. Like I said in a past broadcast, ever drive down the street and wonder how the heck you got there? Your subconscious mind did the whole thing. We want to talk about Elon Musk and self-driving. You already do it with your own brain. It's crazy. You do. We're just trying to make a machine do it so you can go behind the wheel. That's really what's happening. So let the subconscious brain do its work there. You look out here. You pay attention to what's going on. You don't be so insecure. Get out there and be able to look at what's in front of you. Don't get overwhelmed. What's in front of you? What does it say? Is it logical? Is it simple? Even if it looks like a complex formula, stare at it for a little bit. But the minute you shut down and start looking inward, you're not even looking at the problem anymore. No wonder why you can't see it. So the last point here is there are other people that have talents and knowledge that we don't, who are the greatest source of leverage. Here's the word that I started with. Leverage, folks. To help us get what we want and where we want to get to. There are people out there. There are specialists. This has changed my perspective on how I coach anything, how I grow anything, my business, help my kids. We look at where are you deficient in trying to get what you want. You want to grow a business a certain way. What talent do you need to get a certain thing done? For example, in the context of business, I'm imploring all of my coaching students, you got to get somebody who's a pro telemarketer, somebody who can articulate on the phone a unique selling proposition that empowers and is of service to people so that magnetic marketing can actually work for you. Get that person. And a lot of them go kicking and screaming, well, I have to make those calls myself to understand. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's your limitation in your brain saying that I have to control this. I should be that smart. I should be that good. I should be able to time manage. No, why? That's an intellectual insecurity, that control pursuit, trying to do everything by yourself. You see, leverage is how the greats do anything. There are always people, and the most humble champions or victors, they always look around and they understand, where would I be without my wrestling coach? Where would I be without my head stuff coach? Where would I be without my Muay Thai coach? Talking about mixed martial arts, because that's a perfect example of where all sorts of people are used to leverage the champion up to the center of the ring to win it all. That's how it goes. A student, you need good teachers in English, a specialist in math. Think about it. You go to school, they're all specialists. That's what those people specialize in, and they are your leverage to help you learn that subject faster. And if you're authentic in that relationship and you're really in there and you're learning, the grade will follow. In the business, the money will follow, but you've got to be in those places where you're asking for help, and then you're allowing those people in their knowledge and their guidance and their mentorship. And sometimes it's paid coaching, paid guidance. So what? Do it. It's what leverages you to get 10x. You couldn't even pay a good coach or mentor enough if they can 10x, 20x the speed with which you get what you want. Leverage starts with getting over your own insecurities to control things or pretend you know everything. All right, let me go back and go over these points here, okay? Everything looks like more work if you don't understand leverage. So why? Well, first of all, first point, there's a short distance between new information and overwhelm. The new information is supposed to be leveraging us, but the minute we see it, we lock up. Next, it's easiest to confront overwhelm when pursuing what you really want. So if you're getting overwhelmed and you're trying to get that information, just stay focused on what you want. The reason why we don't get levered is because we're spread so thinly looking at 19,000 different things that don't necessarily have anything to do with leveraging us to get what we want. 3, at the root of overwhelm is our insecurity to accept help. After you've done this refinement and you refine it down, you can see clearly who the experts are. Are you asking them for help? Are you hiring for guidance? What are you doing? because that's what leverage is. Investing in getting the help from people and the guidance and cutting to the chase. A lot of these people know what you'll never know about their specialty, but they'll give you what you need to get what you want. And lastly, other people that have talents and knowledge that we don't are the greatest source of leverage to help us get what we want and where we want to go to. They help us get there. All right, I'll summarize it this way. Although we have big goals that we really want, we often find ourselves stricken by overwhelm because when we begin to learn the new concepts we'll need to master to grow, we can't imagine how we'll be able to do all the work required. Now, the fastest way to overcome this dilemma is to accept the fact that there are other people who have special talents and knowledge that can leverage us if we could only just accept their dang help. All right, remember, you can take immediate action to get moving in a better direction because we take all the notes from each episode and post them at freethinkingtools.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen so that you don't miss out on any insights each time we upload. We also post all of these episodes on our social media channels, so remember to turn on the notifications for the bonus section and you won't miss the reminders. Of course, we'd also appreciate it if you would share our content with other people just like you so they get the help that they need and you can join our mission of becoming a person for others. Hey, thanks for listening, but remember one key point as I always sign off the same way. Nobody is coming for you, so go get to work on yourself. And I will see you in the next episode.